Jesus' baptism came immediately before his time in the wilderness, and the story that we commonly know as Jesus tempted by the devil. At the Jordan River, Jesus received his blessing, his identity as God's beloved child, which was essential to weathering the temptations and the struggles to come. The identity given to us at baptism is what guides us through the challenges and struggles that await us on our journeys. The identity that we receive as we are baptized guides us through challenges, struggles that are part of our journey. Still dripping with the waters of the Jordan, Jesus is poised on the brink of his public ministry. There at the Jordan and coming out of the wilderness, ready to encounter people in their towns and villages. Yet instead of turning toward the people, whom in the days to come he will heal and teach and challenge and love, he first turns his face toward the wilderness, towards solitude, toward a place where, instead of everything that is familiar to him, he will wrestle and reckon with who he is and what he has come to do. He does that in part as pioneer, your pioneer mind. And Satan comes to that 40-day place. And you've noticed that Mark's version of the story, it leaves out the details of the temptations that Jesus' visitor, the devil, offers. We could turn to Matthew or Luke to remind us of the specific ways that Satan seeks to entice Jesus. In their Gospels, we could see, were we to turn our focus on those versions, we could see how Jesus, shimmering with clarity the wilderness provides, turns away each temptation Satan brings, the temptations that he has designed to target what he thinks are Jesus' soft spots. Or we could instead enter into the wilderness with Jesus, travel into that landscape to which Lent draws us, and let Mark's omission of the details serve as an invitation to us. In other words, in the wilderness of Lent, to have these questions. What temptations might a visitor offer to you? What enticements would come to you? We've heard Luke and Matthew's account of what Satan dished out to Jesus, but what would temptation, how would it be articulated to address, to tailor themselves, as temptations always do, especially to fit you, molding themselves with a precision to the places where you're most vulnerable. Maybe there's soft spots. Or maybe there are hard spots. What comes to distract you from the path? How might you enter this wilderness season as a space to see more clearly who you are and what you have come to do. It's really not important whatever is etched into public discourse, opinion, reputation, predictions, judgments. Indeed, there may be division and harsh pronouncements levied by others in your direction, even by family and friends. There may be a diagnosis which causes just a movement within your mind that spins out worries and contemplations and regrets and imaginations of change in your life. It's in this sense that I understand that curious notation by Mark's gospel that it was the Spirit, the same Spirit that was with Jesus in baptism, that actually drove Jesus into the wilderness. Because wilderness strips away our certainties, our self-assuredness, our importance. But it also takes away, as we move deeper into the quiet, the solitude, the wilderness experience, it also begins to erode our fear, almost like it begins to melt away. Fear of what lies in front of us, fear over worst outcome, best outcome. It's just you and God. Take, Lord, receive all that I have and possess, my diplomas, my status, all of my recommendations, and all of the things meant to malign me, all of the voices that remind me of negative assumptions and evaluations of me, my memory, my understanding, my entire will. Give me only your love and your grace. That's enough for me. Wilderness occurs, get this, 300 times in the Bible. That word, wilderness, which is midbar in Hebrew, it comes from a root called davar, D-A-V-A-R. The root of the word wilderness actually means to speak. That takes a moment to kind of think, how is the word wilderness tied together with the word to speak? When you look closer at the scriptures and you remember that the wilderness is actually a pretty significant experience for various characters in the scriptures. Moses himself there 40 years tending sheep. The Hebrews spending 40 years in the wilderness wandering around. Elijah fled into the wilderness to get away from Queen Jezebel. In the wilderness, this is the place where God speaks. He spoke to Moses through a burning bush. He spoke to the Hebrews in the wilderness from a mountaintop. He spoke to Elijah in the wilderness in a still, small voice. Only you. But you're not alone. The wilderness is where God speaks, and because today we have rehearsed this deep memory of Jesus himself in the wilderness, it is just you, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So perhaps life and wilderness experiences have evaporated baptismal waters physically from you, your hair, your body, your clothes. But you are watermarked. If the page of your life and all the words said about you and all that you say about yourself have become the focus, hold your life up to the light, to God's light and remember you are precious. Bless the Lord, my soul, and bless God's holy name. Bless the Lord, my soul, who leads me into life.